Right, folks, we continue in the fifth letter. We are discussing God as creator, Yud-Keh, Sur Elamim. With the name Yud and a Hey, God creates worlds, spiritual worlds with the letter Yud, this world, the physical world with the letter Hey, as we explained yesterday. Even though everything really stems from the letter Yud, which is Chochmah. Chochmah is the seminal point in us of an idea. Yet, this world is not created with the letter Yud directly. Everything starts with the letter Yud because everything starts with a dot, right? Everything starts with the smallest letter. Any kind of starts with that and then continues. Everything starts with an idea, the seed of an idea that becomes elaborated, which we'll explain a bit more shortly. However, this world is physical, so it comes from it doesn't come from the source directly of primordial intelligence, Chochmah, which is the source for enunciating letters, being able to produce verbal through speech letters like pay with my lips and ches, that's guttural. That is the form, the inner dimension of speech. But then the soul of speech, that is coming from primordial intelligence, as we've explained at great length in the past. But then there is also in speech the breath of speech, and without the breath, it doesn't come out. It doesn't become verbalized. It doesn't become expressed outside of me. The breath is the external matter body of speech, the letters of speech. And that is represented by the letter Hey in God's name. Why the letter Hey? Because Hey is, in the letter itself, is in a word only breath, but no articulation, or minimal. It is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a light letter, in as much it doesn't really have substance. All it is breath. Hey, hey. That's what it is. That's the matter of speech, the body of speech, and it is the source then of creation of this physical world. Because this world does not have a connection or direct connection to the primordial wisdom that there is something beyond, that there's something to transcend. As lofty souls come from the internal part of speech, and as Gan Eden, the spiritual worlds, come from the internal part of speech, and therefore there is an awareness of that which is beyond, that which is transcendent, and a desire to connect to it. That's where our soul comes from. That's where lofty souls, and that's the lofty spiritual worlds. But this world from the letter Hey, which just means like I come down a contraction, something we'll learn more about. Now, with this idea then, the letter Hey is, in speech, is the final Hey in God's name. The final Hey in God's name is Malchus. But right? So we have God's name over here. We have the final Hey, that is Malchus, that's royalty, kingship. God rules as a king with his word. The word of God is the creative power. And here we're speaking about that this is in the word, in speech, there's two elements of letters of speech, the internal and external. The internal is, again, the five organs that produce the specific letters. That's the soul of speech, the internal aspect, like pay using your lips, right? As we gave example previously. But then there's the external part of the verbalization is the breath. The difficulty with this explanation now is that the Hey that we're making reference to is the latter Hey, but the Hey that the verse is speaking about is the former Hey. In Yud-K, in a Yud and a Hey, God is the rock, is the creator of the world. So it's referring to this Hey. But speech is this Hey. So it seems to be, the same letter, but a different part in God's name. How do we understand this? So the Alter Rebbe starts to explain, because whereas the internal part of speech comes from the Yud, right, primordial intelligence, that which is beyond, and the capability of saying letters, saying words, the 22 letters of the Hebrew Aleph Beit, is a developmental thing that is beyond intelligence, primordial intelligence. That's where it's rooted. But when it comes to the external part of speech, which is the breath, it comes from the previous Hey in God's name. It's sourced there. How so? As the idea is that an understanding heart, the former Hey in God's name is Bina, understanding. So let's take an example from us. When we understand something, where does that get nested into? Where does that get funneled into? Your heart. And that's what it means, an understanding heart. And the heart is the source of the breath. As the heart pumps and gives vitality and gives the breath to the lungs, that the lungs give it to my verbalization of a breath in speech. So the source is the original Hey, the first Hey. You know what? Let's expand upon this idea. Let's give a deeper understanding. Let's take God's name over here. Okay, we have a Yud, then a Hey, and we have a Vav and a Hey. 3 different types of letters. There's 2 Heys, a Yud and a Vav. What is a Yud? A Yud, we said, is primordial intelligence. It's beyond intelligence. It's hidden. Well, the whole idea of intelligence is something to begin with that's hidden. Hidden meaning that it's within you and is not within another. I can't give my intelligence to you. I can express it through speech, right? But the intelligence itself is within me and to me. Intelligence means that you don't need another. You see those people who are not that smart people. You can have a lot of smart people, but those who are engaged in intelligence, those who are, they from that perspective, they can be in their heads. And that doesn't have to be otherness. There is no other, because you can be in your head, totally. And that's the Yud. The Yud is small, obscure, just a point. And again, intelligence doesn't need another person. Emotions needs another person, right? And that's the Vav, is emotions. Emotions is then taking the intelligence and drawing it down. Because here you have the Yud, beginning, and you're drawing it down. Because everything starts with the Yud. Everything starts with the source of intelligence, Chokhmah. Right? But here you're taking intelligence, and now you're drawing it down. What does it mean you're drawing it down? You're drawing it down to otherness, to another. The reason that the fact that we have emotions means it's an emotion towards another, a feeling towards another. Love, awe, God forbid hate, right? A feeling towards another. Now, and that's why it's a line, it's a kav. There's an extension. What's the extension? To otherness. Okay? So, a Yud is a point. It is concealed, just like a point is, so to speak, the smallest thing. It shows on concealment. It shows on how something is to itself, as intelligence is, not demanding another, not necessitating otherness, right? Not an intelligence doesn't, right? We're talking about only the intelligence person. Emotions is taking the intelligence and now drawing it down. Down meaning outside of self. There is otherness now. There is an other. You have an emotion means a feeling towards someone. Why don't you just speak about people now, right? Even though it can be an emotion towards something else also, but right? There is someone. That's what emotions means. It's drawn down. But it's only drawn down. It isn't fully expressed. Why? Because it's only a feeling of another within you. Emotion we're talking about. Expression of emotion is not emotion. That's an expression of the emotion. So now there's two hays. And what a hay is breadth, length, and depth. What does that mean? Complete ispashtus. Taking complete form and shape. So, of the Yud, which is Chokhmah, that's the seminal thought. It takes complete. He sees the Chokhmah starts over here in the beginning of the hay. That's the idea of understanding. You're taking a thought or an idea, the seminal idea, the seed of it, and you're expanding upon it. The breadth, length, and depth. That's what ispashtus means, a complete expansion. So in intelligence, you have the primordial intelligence that is the dot, and then you have the expansion of it, which is bina. Okay? That's what a hay is, expansion. But then we have another hay, a latter hay. It's the expansion of emotions. And what's that? Speech. Thought, speech, and action ultimately, but speech specifically, but it's thought, speech, and action. You have the thought here, speech, and action. Or it's just speech. It depends what the reference point is. The point is it's expansion of one's feelings. It's the expression of feelings, right? Which is now the expansion of that feeling that now becomes totally revealed. Just as Bina totally reveals intelligence of primordial intelligence of Chachma, The latter Hey reveals the emotions, expands the emotions, reveals the emotions totally. So the first Hey and the latter Hey are the same idea of expansion. One is expansion of intelligence, one is expansion of emotions. So, getting back to our idea over here, is there is in speech, there is the internal speech, internal aspect of speech, which comes from the Yud of Chochmah, that reflects itself in the internal aspect in the soul of speech, which is being able to pronounce letters, 22 of them, specifically different types. E. And the external part of speech is coming from the expansion of intelligence, Bina, because when you expand a seed and it grows the idea, that then it rises or gives birth to a feeling, emotions, which is the heart. And the heart then becomes the source of breath. Becomes a source of breath. Fascinating idea over here that we've just explained. In God's name, which is, of course, part of our soul. I hope that's clear. Any questions? Demitra. Oh, from Montreal. Thank you. All right. Glad you enjoyed. Thank you, Pamela. Denise, your broadcast was interrupted. Anybody else had broadcast interruptions? Let me know. Ellie, thank you for joining. Jim, thank you. Melody, drawing down, pouring out of into. No, emotions is drawing towards another. But yet emotion is still within you. It's only when you have the speech, then it becomes expressed to another, that emotion. Which an emotion of love can be expressed in many different ways. For example, Jean from Alabama, thank you for joining. From Budapest. Oh no, hello from Nudnik from Boston. Is that a name or? All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Una from Iowa. Yes, the higher and lower Hey. Dina from Brooklyn, shalom. For Tampa, Florida, Simcha. Sigalit, New York. Good morning. From Budapest, Anna. I don't see a question, comment. All right, folks. Thank you, folks. Thank you for the comments. Sharing is caring. Beautiful idea to share with others. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from my home in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day.